This section of the Board Accountability Plan deals with the impacts of COVID-19 related to system investments. The areas of focus for the impacts of COVID-19 relative to system investments were as follows. Number 1, maximize the investment of Ministry of Education's COVID-19 funding to support pandemic-related academic, operational, and health and safety requirements. Number 2, ensured staffing was in place to support pandemic-related disinfecting, health and safety protocols, varied learning models, and targeted class size investments. Number 3, maintained a balanced budget for 2020-2021, which supported planned activities and addressed pandemic-related impacts without compromising future financial stability. Key accomplishments. Invested $5 million, approximately 50 teachers and 20 ECEs, to implement targeted in-person class size thresholds in support of physical distancing. The thresholds were 22 students in kindergarten, 20 students in grades 1 to 3, and 25 students in grades 4 to 8. We also were able to protect program course offerings in both the home and virtual secondary schools. We hired additional custodians to support health and safety protocols. We invested $1.7 million in student transportation in order to lower ridership capacity, ensure seating plans and contact tracing, provide additional cleaning, and a modified secondary instructional schedule. We invested $1.1 million to provide the administrative and operational infrastructure required to run virtual elementary and secondary schools, and we invested $400,000 in additional student services and mental health supports. Key accomplishments continued. We invested $1.1 million in additional technologies to support remote learning and virtual schools. We invested $1.4 million to provide additional cleaning and ventilation in all schools. We invested $100,000 to provide additional health and safety training, and we are projected to finish the 2020-2021 school year with a balanced operating budget. This graphic illustrates the hires that supported COVID-19 protocols. We hired 50 teachers, 20 early childhood educators, and approximately 25 custodians. This graphic provides investments made to support the impacts of the pandemic. $5 million invested to implement targeted in-person class size thresholds. $1.7 million in student transportation to lower ridership capacity, ensure seating plans, and contact tracing. $1.4 million invested to provide additional cleaning and ventilation in schools. $1.1 million invested to provide for the infrastructure of virtual elementary and secondary schools. $1.1 million invested in additional technology to support remote learning and the virtual schools, and $400,000 invested in additional student services and mental health supports. Contact information: Central Office, St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Education Center, 650 Roslyn Road West, Oshawa, Ontario, L1J7C4. Email address: info@dcdsb.ca. Phone number: 905-576-6150. Website: dcdsb.ca. We have the following social media accounts: Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Each of these can be found at Durham Catholic. We also have a YouTube channel that can be found at Durham Catholic District School Board.